Hi guys. So I've decided to make a video. I decided to make a video because I received some messages that said that basically they love the description of this event, but it seemed a bit abstract for some. So I wanted to bring a bit more clarity of what this workshop is all about, or what I would love for this workshop to be for you. And so just to give you a bit of an insight about myself, I started out with a really straight meditation school that was really spiritual, very traditional. And then I came back and realized, okay, that doesn't work with a lot of people, this language. And I did a lot of trainings that would translate this very deep spiritual teaching into more understandable vocabulary, and also add a bit of the science behind it, like what's actually happening in your brain when you meditate and all that stuff. So a bit nerding out a bit on that. And also to how to bring this into corporates. So that was my main focus then, on the one hand. On the other hand, I started doing a lot of somatic work with doing a year training with embodied intimacy, and that was super great for me. And the thing is that I noticed that what was totally normal at my meditation school, that we would have these 3-hour sessions where you would start with this super slow hatha yoga, where you would really tune into each chakra and stay there for a very long time, and then you do a long pranayama breathwork session as the bridge between body and mind, and then you would go into a state of meditation, and that would just come very easily to you because you had done the work previously. Of this entire, that would be a 3-hour session, and I just simply didn't have 3 hours each day. So I had kind of cut it down to meditating, and it had become one of those things where I realized, okay, so I either do body work or I meditate. And through this process that I was in, I realized more and more that you cannot really separate these two. Or you can, but it's not going to be really beneficial. And that, in fact, when you bring the two together, you get this superpower weapon with you, because you're walking around in this shell of yours, and fun fact, this shell picks up signals of the outside, picks it up 8 times faster than your mind makes sense of them. So that really got me thinking. I'm like, so this whole and when we talk about embodiment work, there's so much talk about you bringing the awareness into what's actually happening in your system, so you can choose a different way of reacting and thus choosing a really different reality. And that goes for pretty much everything. It doesn't really matter whether it's the body or the mind. The more conscious awareness I bring to all of this, the more I can choose, wait a minute, what life is it that I want to live? What is it? And I'm noticing also, like right now, with this whole corona thing, still kind of like not really sure what's gonna happen with that. This is so important because I can either choose to fall into a spiral of because it's very uncertain right now. Everything is kind of like don't know what's gonna happen next, and like, what do you choose to do with this information? What do you want to do with this state of existence that we're in right now? And so I got really curious, and I noticed that if I tune into my body more and more, and I can use this as the perfect training ground for awareness. I can really go into the minute, tiniest little changes in my body, and if I pick up on them, it is a total presence training, and I can maybe pick up an information that I wasn't aware of before, and I can choose to react differently to the situation I'm in. I can choose to go for creativity rather than fear. I can choose to go for love rather than rejection. There's a lot of choice in that, and that really thrills me, because I'm like, wow, this is great. This is like this superpower. So this workshop that I want to do on next Wednesday, the 2nd of September, is going exactly into that direction. It's it's a training ground for awareness. With a lot of embodiment work, like I said this before, yeah, there's so much talk about the awareness, but it's like, okay, so how can we really train that? How can we train that? And how can we experience a change within ourselves? I'm gonna talk a bit about the theory behind all of that and the nervous system and all that stuff as well, but I'm not gonna nerd out too much about it because for me, the way that I have learned the best was always through like a direct experience of what was happening. If I experience it, I think one of my teachers once said, if you experience truth, you never have to question it again. And that has really stuck with me. So in this workshop, I would like us to dive in this rabbit hole together, starting with the body and just really becoming like a laser pointer of what's going on in our system, and then through the body really, really gently dropping layer after layer after layer deeper into a state where it's not even a matter of mind or body, it's just stillness in the now, out of which everything that you want, you can create. Amen. Yeah. And I burn for this. This is what makes my heart jump. This is what makes me, this is what makes my eyes sparkle. And I would love to do this first training, this first workshop around this topic with you guys next week. And I'm really looking forward to seeing all of you. All right, I'm gonna stop this video. It's way too long already. Mwah. See you next week.